Manjeet, play please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Here it goes. Shaurav, over to you.
Saurabh, you are on mute. Yeah, you're on mute, please. Unmute yourself.
Ladies and gents, I'm Saurav Raj, alumni of IIT Delhi. I'm the program chair for Pivot 2023, the Pan IT World of Technology Conference. This is being held on the 8th and 9th of December at Taj Yeshwanthpur in Bangalore. So quick audio check. Can we have a few thumbs up and emojis on the screen so we know everything is good and you're getting good quality audio and video from our side? Excellent. You are a wonderful audience. So it's a wonderful Saturday evening, and thank you again for joining us today. I am excited to welcome you to the second edition of our online roadshow as we run up to the main event in December. We have an exciting lineup of speakers today. These are founders from across different IITs, and each one of them have made a mark for themselves in the world of flying machines. It started with information, developed to surveillance, to defense, to attack, to transport goods, to transport people, entertainment, and finally take up the final frontier to space. We'll talk a lot about all of these in the coming few minutes. Joining us today is also Mr. Debashis Bhattacharya, Chairman, Pan IT Alumni India, and Mr. Pradeep Bhargava, General Secretary, Pan IT Alumni India. So without much delays, allow me to start the session today. Ladies and gents, can we have a round of applause and emojis as I invite on stage Mr. Pradeep Bhargava to talk about Pivot 2023.
Thank you, Saurabh, and welcome all. I'll go through a set of slides which will capture the journey to Pivot and what we have in store for you. So Pan IT welcomes you to the multicultural and diverse environment that we have and that we are continuing to build with all the IITs and alumni coming together. Pan IT vision is to promote IITs as go-to place for innovation by 2030, and all the things are falling in line to go ahead and do that. We also intend to establish a platform that will aggregate innovation and research, and also match needs and availability so that the right capability is matched with the right requirements. Pan IT also seeks to be the contributor in policy making and will actually lead by action by setting up innovation hubs across the country.
Pradeep sir, we are not able to see the slides.
Pradeep, yeah, you are showing your Gmail wala thing. Could you please share the PPT?
Are you not able to see the screen?
Oh, we can see your Gmail account.
Now?
Now we can see only you, not the screen.
You can see your backdrop also.
Is
Yes,
this-
now we can see.
see.
Yeah.
So Pan IT has been growing with collaboration, and there are multiple alumni associations across the world that we are collaborating with. As the first, the intent is to empower alumni, and as the second, being also strategic support for the IITs. Among that, then also it leads to the various organizations that are there to partner, like Parfi, which is working in the rural area along with Wheels. We have IIT Startups, which is working with the startups, and IIT Alumni Associations, which are directly connected to alumni of that institute. We also have international networks where people come together and do various initiatives and engagements. And then in Chennai and Bangalore, we also have alumni centers where you could interact and engage. And that brings us to the every 2-year event that we organize, Pivot, which is Pan IT World of Technology. This time it's happening in Bangalore, 8th and 9th, and it would be in a hybrid mode. So you have a physical event as well as the virtual event. What it starts with is an organization, which is a set of volunteers. Around 160 volunteers from all the IITs are coming together in order to make it happen. It is supported by the office bearers, and you can see the names here. Also supported by the summit organizing team, which is focusing on specific functions. This is also supported by advisors who are providing the directional support and assist in curation of the conference, which is coming up in December. So what Pivot is all about? And we started with the word innovation, and we are looking at how we innovate into future. So it has around 4 tracks, which we have discussions, and then there are a number of activities, which is around networking, exhibition, and also dinner. In the conference session, we are covering topics like innovation coming out of India, the digital economy, which is already in motion, and we see how it's going to scale globally. We'll also deep dive into research and see how the core research is coming to seek and support the market requirements. There is imperative need for boosting manufacturing, and there is also an opportunity which one can really take advantage of. One of the things which is also required always is to work with the society and see how do we create a social impact. And last but not the least, supercharging with AI, which is around working with the newer elements that are coming up and how we mobilize it for business and also from resource perspective. So this is the conference session that you have, and it is supported by the Startup Conclave, which has the keynotes and masterclasses, but also pitching to the investors by the startups. Startups can also put their stalls in the conference during this time. We have hackathon where almost 4,500 people have already enrolled, and we expect 5,000 to participate with around 1,000 teams. So we have 30 people concluding there on the event day in these following topics like EV and mobility, healthcare, fintech, AI, blockchain, and IoT. We also have a set of people who are key to connecting to the institute, and among them are the directors. We also have Alumni Association presidents and the heads of incubation center. And these people will also be having a discussion, which is running into half a day for each, coming with some conclusions, which will be presented on the last day. This gives you a general overview for the pivot. The general run also covers the activities, as I mentioned, around innovation, the startup energy, where people are coming from a startup, investors, students, and we know that timing matters. Touching on the unprecedented opportunity that India is getting in the areas like appliances, aerospace, defense, automotive, healthcare, and automation. And we intend to see that how the real core research which is happening in the institutes is converted into something which market desires. Social relevance covering the areas around urban transformation, rural empowerment, water conservation, and climate resilience, so that we could look at impactful solution, ensure sustainability, and create an inclusive culture. We have the road shows, and today is the second one, the flying machines, which is soon going to be shared with you. We have covered future of AI on 28th October, and coming up next is on 18th November, mental health matters, and on 25th November, Earth Outbound, getting the space startups talking to us what plans they have. This event also allows us to interact with the top global speakers, with almost 2,000 guests and invitees coming over around in business, entrepreneurship, research and innovation, finance and investment. One also has the sponsorship opportunities to partner and collaborate, to look at potential investments in innovation, and also possibility to grow your business. And it also will be a night to remember, with a gala dinner, some live music, and you can celebrate innovation. So that brings us to people who have already committed and be part of this event. We have the sponsors, title sponsor Hexaware, and joining them is MindTickle. We have partners who are supporting us in various activities for making Pivot happen. This brings us to the short sharing that I did, and I will give it back to Saurav to take it ahead for the flying machines.
Thank you, Mr. Pradeep. It was wonderful to learn about Pivot and all the engaging activities that you already have in store for us in December. Can we have a round of emojis and thank you for Pradeep, sir? Quick. And in the meantime, I would like to invite Mr. Devashish Bhattacharya, Chairman, PanIT Alumni India, onto the stage. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Saurav. Thank you very much, Pradeep. Now, as I start, I see that we have already started working with paradoxes. For example, I have a camera on my laptop, but I'm not still visible. So that is the biggest paradox that I'm dealing with right now. We are an association of alumni, but we are not an alumni association, right? These may seem play of words, but they are not, I assure you. An alumni association is a body of alumni connected by nostalgia. An association of alumni is a body of alumni connected with a purpose to do something. So Pan IIT Alumni is a body that has been created to do something which is larger than the purpose of nostalgia. So I welcome you all to today's session. Dr. Ailavat, Mr. Kumar, and other speakers. We look forward to a very entertaining session. The reason why I am taking a few minutes of your time before we get into the session are a few. First and foremost, as Pradeep said, as Pan IIT alumni, we intend to contribute to the building of the future India. Given that with the change in geopolitical and technological situations, we have an opportunity to utilize our intellectual might, intellectual capital, HR capital, and everything to actually stamp our competence, capability, and outcomes on the world. To do that, we cannot be meeting once in a while and talking about things and going away. We need to come together to think about a future, create common objectives, and define how we would like to go together. These events, today's event and the larger event that we are planning in person at Bangalore in the first week of December, are meant to bring people together. The conference, the hackathon, the startup conclave, the Chintan Shivir, and other direct and indirect interactions fundamentally are a means of getting all of us together where we can get to know each other, where we can share our dreams, find the points of intersection, and then figure out how we can try and make those intersection points and the dreams into reality. That is the fundamental purpose. Obviously, it is never a one single purpose that brings people together. We bring people together also to bring the alumni together and create a brand called Pan IIT, make everybody feel and get to the fact that irrespective of the number of campuses that IITs have, we still are a brand which is called IIT brand. And the brand is already established across the globe because of our alumni who have been contributing in various manners in any of the domains that we see. So that is something I am honored to be a part of that select group, and I welcome everybody who is a part of that select group because we are a group of motivated people who would like to do something which is good for the future. And it is to that future I invite you because without partnership, without talking to multiple stakeholders, without having multiple aspects of any situation which we try and bring together, or without having contrary opinions, there is no way we can build a future. It is to that future that I invite you, and I invite you to make maximum use of this opportunity to get to know everybody and find people with whom we can create those futures. We can talk to the IIT directors, maybe from the point of view of common research, joint research, collaborative research. My long-term induction of graduates. It could be with incubation center. It could be with startups and figuring out that the startup may have something which I can use in my solution, or I have something which the startup can use. So fundamentally, we are talking about collaboration, and Pan IIT is trying to build a future almost like a rolling plan where we can have initiatives after initiatives which carries us beyond tomorrow and day after, and we are able to see a future that we are defining for ourselves. I invite all of you to join us and be a part of that dream where you add your dreams and make the whole thing a success. Thank you very much. Handing over back to Saurabh, and I'm looking forward as eagerly to the session as you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Devashish. That was wonderful to hear about what Pan IT is doing, not only for the institutes, but the students, but the alumni, and overall contribution to the community. Can we have a round of applause, please, for Mr. Devashish? So with that, we would like to move to the main session as we enter the world of flying machines, the mini data centers that took wings. So with that, I would like to start and introduce our panel. First one to come on stage with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sarita Elawat. She is MD and co-founder of BotLab Dynamics, and she has the credit of running all the cool drone shows, quite a few of them across the length and breadth of the country. Dr. Elawat is a TEDx speaker, completed her post-doctoral research at the Wadsworth Center, Albany in New York. She also holds a PhD from the University of Illinois and an MS from the University of Rochester, New York. She's also the winner of the Women in Civil Aviation Award for 2022 and the National Tech Excellence Award for Women in 2022 again. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Sarita, thank you so much for being with us today. Next, I would like to invite on the panel Mr. Ramakrishna, who is co-founder and CEO of Endure Air Systems. An alumni of IIT Kanpur, he has founded Endure Air Systems, which provides world-class aerial robotic solutions. This is specially suited for Indian market. His company primarily focuses on the entire gamut of UAS research and development, novel airframes, autopilots, communication frameworks, monitoring stations, and cooperative control and computer vision algorithms. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Ramakrishna with a round of applause and a war of emojis. Finally, we have on stage with us Mr. Prem Kumar Bislawat, who is the founder and CEO of Maru Drones. And he is an amazing person who is doing some fantastic work in precision agriculture. Hails from IIT Guwahati, he launched India's first drone for smart farming for multi-utility drone manufacturers from seeding to harvesting. He's also a Forbes 30 under 30 Asia in 2020 in the field of sustainable agriculture, scalable reforestation, and last mile medical delivery, for which he has also received the Emerging Technology Award for Drones and AI at the 6th NASCOM Technology Conference, NTC, and he also stands as the winner in Facebook's India Innovation Accelerator Program, Artificial Intelligence for Social Good. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Prem Kumar Bislawat. In session is our very own Mr. Manish Kumar Jha, who is moderating the panel, and he's well known for his editorial work and contributions as the Defense and Foreign Affairs for Financial Express and Business World Defense. He's an author and editor on the topics of defense and foreign affairs, national security, strategic affairs, and defense economy and trade. His editorial coverage spans more than 30 countries worldwide on the ground. He has editorials on government policies, which have been discussed widely at various fora, raising national debate. So ladies and gents, with your final round of welcome and emojis, please allow me to welcome our esteemed panelists on the stage. Thank you so much for being with us. Mr. Manish, I hand over the stage to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think, thank you, Saurav. Thank you, Mr. Devashish. Thank you for bringing us together. There's nothing so important than what we're discussing today. And I can tell you for sure, to begin with, the way the part of the world I go and the conflict is everywhere, I see one thing is playing a crucial role. It's so much so that when somebody say it is a future, I really think, is it a future? It's happening now, right now, here, around the world. And let me introduce you. I'm very proud to be part of this institution. Of course, alma mater. I studied in IIT Mumbai, and indeed very excited to have all the distinguished panelists here. Of course, starting with my dear friend Ramakrishna, who has been a pioneer, and I welcome you all. Let me just give a little background how I'm going to take the discussion and how critical it is. Uh, Starting with while we're covering the national security way back in 5 years ago, Indian Army has so much of issues. They cannot send soldiers. They cannot have boots on the ground. What they can do, and then the infiltration was happening in wide across Jammu Kashmir and other parts, basically. What came as a solution is a technological drones, where Indian Army, without sending the troops, can gather some vital information. Believe me, this is very crucial. This is going to change the whole concept of the warfare, what we call the modern warfare. But from the military aspect of the drone, what we talked about, you know, we see the whole lot of applications, which is also going to change the humanity. Believe me, it's a big word. It's changing right now. Uh, and there's so much of research and development happening there around the world. To begin with, I was in part of Portugal, with a company called Tekever. And Portugal is a small country. They don't have a fighter jets. What they're going to do? They can't buy billion-dollar fighter jets. So they developed a drone which could survey what you call intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance of entire Atlantic Ocean. With 1/3 of the cost, they could have bought F-35 or FPSI, those kind of military drones. And that's why discussion is so important. We talk about in the whole discussion, we set the objective, we'll focus primarily on the innovation aspect of the drones in India, challenges also, and how it leads to the military applications, and not the least, the capability and the confusion part. We can't have better than these panelists to tell you the truth right now. Begin with, I'll rather start with Sarita Lawat. Tell us, we talked about a few years back, a few drone company in India, just a few years back, if I can say correctly, 5 years ago. Now it is more than 250 drones company in India with good scale. Uh, we also talk about somehow the projection size, a lot of projection give a figure about 1 lakh crore of opportunity coming until 2025 or 30, not very far away. It's down the line. It's a big money. And the technology is also radically changed. We're going to have a lot of Make in India component here. But first of all, give us a clarity, Dr. Sarita. What does the ecosystem look like to you? How big is this business, drone business in India? Is it really has taken off? And so begin with you, please.
All right. Good evening, everyone. And I really thank organizers for having me on this platform, and very happy to share our work and also share the overall ecosystem of I'm representing the part of the ecosystem. And as you rightly said, Manish, that this area wasn't as exciting as it is now. And particularly after the regulations have become a little bit relaxed from 2021, the drone ecosystem has suddenly taken off. And so when you talk about what's the size of the drone industry, so the numbers are very large and they're growing bigger only. So a rough estimate is the global market is around $24 billion US. But a lot of it is unaccounted. Small countries are now, as you said yourself in the introduction, are becoming hugely important and contributing themselves. And so I think the ecosystem is growing. But unfortunately, when you talk about India, we are very good at putting software solution, but when it comes to building hardware, the successful examples are very handful. And I would say that the Indian ecosystem, and I'll talk particularly about just the drone industry. So we are crossing the barrier between level 1 to level 2. And let me take a moment to share what I mean by level 1. So level 1 is where you have the components which are made outside of the country, and the know-how is outside the country, and you bring them to India and you assemble them. That's a level 1, and it's actually a very important level that we have seen in, other industries, across industries happening. Cell phone, laptop, we have crossed the level 1, and with drones we are going to level 2, where it means is now we're designing part of the drone components, and still importing the components that are needed. So for example, a lot of startups in India are designing their own flight controllers, motor controllers, GPS, and but the components, the chips are all made outside of India, and that ecosystem will be level 3, where the designs are ours and the components are also ours. And with this boost that we are seeing recently in the hardware ecosystem, drone ecosystem particularly, so probably the level 2, level 3 will also come come to India. And now, as you said, there are more than 250 drone startups, and many of them are doing really well, and they have all found their niche areas. So instead of competing with each other, they have, a lot of the drone companies have found their areas of expertise and contributing to the Indian ecosystem, Indian economy.
Oh, wonderful. So that's the Indian economy. That's a big part. 1 lakh rupees number. Government is very happy to talk about that. Everybody is happy to talk about that. It seems like after the IT, this is going to be the next revolution. Of course, IT, health. But to Ramakrishna, who is driving this growth? Is it the government buying your drones, or is it the private players who are buying your drones? It is the e-commerce buying your drones. Who is driving this 1 lakh crore economy? How realistic is the ecosystem now? Tell me, Ramakrishna, you are at the heart of the whole thing.
Thanks for this opportunity, Manish. That is a very good question. But if you observe the market or the sales of the top 20 to 30 drone companies in India, you will get this answer right away. So 95% of the business in drone industry is driven by B2G, defense market, and 5% is being driven by the enterprise market, which covers a lot of services. If you analyze the enterprise market, instead of customer buying the drone, they tend towards the services, because owning a infrastructure like a drone is not as easy or as simple as it sounds, right? So 95% is being driven by defense, be it MOD or MHA or Survey of India or agri support that is being given by the government. So all the surveillance applications, inspection and digitalization of land records. So all these initiatives have, all the emergency procurements, if you see, so have contributed a lot to the drone revenue of the companies. But again, yeah, it's a 95% to 5% as of now. But coming 1 or 2 years, we'll see this to a 80 to 20%, 80-20, because the inspection services or the enterprise, the customers like oil and gas industries or electric lines. So they are coming in a big way to adopt this technology in next 1 year. So we are seeing that traction being generated over last 10 to 12 months. So I am optimistic of the changing scenario to 80-20 by next calendar year, by end of next calendar year.
All right.
The thing is, we also have to respect this. The government is aggressively increasing their procurement potential also. So while our enterprise market is catching up, the defense market or the government is also increasing their potential to buy more drones or induct more technology. So it's a race between both the markets. Yeah.
I wonderfully explained, but that opens to more questions, basically, Ramakrishna. And then back to Prem Kumar Vishwanath, he's the founder and CEO, Maru Drones. He found his niche in the Indian market. He seems to be growing. And of course, 30 under 30 or 40 under 40, depends on age, he's getting getting awards and all that. How did you find your niche, and where do you see the ecosystem, Mr. Prem Kumar? Who is buying what? Do you see it is going to be the 1 lakh crore industry? Are we projecting way through our boundary?
Thank you, Manish, and thank you, PanIT team. So, Manish, to put forward, we have come to this industry to solve the problem where you and me go through every day. And we started our journey by doing the eradication of this dengue malaria. Then we realized if you're building something a tech, it has to be, if something I'm solving something in Hyderabad, I should solve something in Kerala, or same I could solve something in Assam, and I should scale it to some other like Africa or another place. That's where we started our journey. Then we saw in India, if anything, a technology when there's there, like people have seen mobile phone and internet as a very disruptive technology which has come. After that, if any technology has come, this technology is still with the defense itself. Like I agree, but in civilian space, if it has to come, it has to be impact driven. Unless you don't show the impact, certain, and I don't think they'll able to, the regulatory can able to open up to the civilian space. That's where we started. We brought a drastical difference with this technology. We have taken 4 domains, starting with the dengue malaria. We brought from 20,000 dengue cases to less than 400, 18,000 malaria cases to less than 500 in city of Hyderabad, and where you can sip a coffee and tea at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening. That's the change what you bring from a stage where you were hitting your face and hands with this stage to start with. And then we saw a big pain in the agriculture space. As Corona has taught us how difficult and how important is the food what we eat, and everybody is so health conscious. And still today, if you type Google cancer train, a train every day goes from Punjab to Rajasthan, and majority of people are farmers who are prone to this cancer. And this is the same incident which has triggered us in 2018 when we started this agriculture space. Was in Yavatmal, more than 1,400, 1,500 people got affected because of the spray happening in agriculture field, and wind blown and went to the villages. It got triggered us. That's where we saw, can we remove this access to the farmer directly, the labor, and which are going health issues and like health hazards which are happening. And it itself had a lot of just because anything in health, and Agri made a scientific trial, scientific validation. We've gone through the scientific validation on different crops and everything. And today we could able to convince the top boss of Prime Minister of India, to the ministry, everybody, that the next employment it is happening is not in city, it's in rural areas with these drones. And we're gonna bring how people are earning 50, 60,000, a lakh rupee in sitting in cities like Bombay, Delhi, or Hyderabad. They could earn in tier 2, tier 3 cities by just adopting the technology, which can be learned in less than 10 days or less than 1 week, and go back and work with their own family and their own neighborhood, their own villages, and earn this. We are bringing back, like every farmer feels his son not to be in agriculture till today. We are bringing back with this technology to make every person who is educated in the village will be back to villages and serve the farmers of this country.
Certainly. I mean, we are still, the economy contributes, the agriculture contributes the big in the economy. But I back to Dr. Sarita, you came back, a greener world, and launch your business in India, thinking it could again, turn around. Of course, it's opportunity everywhere. We talk about health, we talk about agriculture. So much to do here in India using drones. But why do we still talk about defense, military drones per se? Why don't we see drones flying in our sky, delivering, we hear case studies, where we discuss here. I know a lot of case studies in the startup. I know you guys are doing a tremendous job. But then we're talking about 250 companies and a large ecosystem. What stops us then? Why don't we see so many e-commerce player taking drones in our sky in Delhi or some part of India? When going to happen that? And why is not happening now? If there's so much of scope here in agriculture that Prem has talked about, and we all know.
So you're right, Manish, that in agriculture, and actually Prem talked a lot in detail, so not in just southern India, but northern India, a lot of significant, I mean, land has been in several, I think 1 lakh villages have been already covered by drones for pesticide spray. And so the other exciting part that you talked about is like maybe medicine delivery, or for pizza delivery, or for those applications. I think if you think about it, Amazon and other companies have put a lot of effort and resources into it, but not just in India. That hasn't happened in majority of the world yet, and the reason being is the security concerns. Because you see, now you don't think about twice when you have to take a flight from, let's say, Delhi to Hyderabad or to Chennai. But drones still, as a technology, the when flying them over people, over cities, is still those kind of reliability is yet to be achieved. And you're right that lot of pilots have been done, and so I think you're not seeing that yet, is only because of the safety concerns that and for right reasons that the regulatory bodies have, the governments have, and that can probably, with more and more testing, can be with time, when the systems becomes reliable. So I can give you one example that I think nobody probably in country knows more than us. So at a time we fly, let's say minimum is 500 drones at a time, and the failure rate is typically about 1%. So typically we see when we are flying, because of some sensor or other, so there are let's say a couple of drones which at unannounced time show failure, even though we have 15 safety features that we put, return to home, crash, and all those, but still a lot of things are unpredictable. And again, I'm coming to the point that I brought out in the beginning, that a lot of the systems that we're making, these sensors are incorporated into the systems that we're developing. So they're custom made, but a lot of times these sensors are put based on our requirement, and they're not as are not fully customized. So I think it would take a lot of R&D for drones to fly over people, population, and for that to happen, I think it's just a little bit time left.
Can I go back to Ramakrishna on this? You think it will take more time, which we can fully, at least to reach to the point we can utilize the services? We don't have to copy West all the time. We can be pioneer in this. You sort of companies are pioneered in India, right? We don't have to have the same IT model here. Why can't we take a leapfrog using the drones in our supply chain, and which is so constrained? We still have a lack of last mile infrastructure in India. We are still an emerging nation. We need a huge pool of infrastructure. Drones can really change in the scenario, taking medicine to the some part of Bihar to flood prone state and many places. Where do you see we are lacking, Ramakrishna?
Other than obviously on what Dr. Saita has mentioned, the security reasons is obviously the primary concern, where the government is holding us back, or not, sorry, not the right word. Government is making sure we are doing it in correct manner, bringing in the right regulations or right certification policies for BVLOS, beyond visual line of sight operations. All these delivery operations that you're talking about, these falls under that. While all these agri spraying, land mapping applications falls under visual line of sight operations, which government has given a clear go ahead from 2021, and all the certification policies are in place. So the support is there. But when it comes to BVLOS, where there are a lot of uncertainties and a lot of infrastructure is not in control, is not a controlled environment, the end-to-end, the takeoff to landing zone. So that requires more stringent or more regulated policies. And while coming to the technology side from the market side, so there is a component quality that we have to keep in mind while we're targeting, while we're having a big, huge dreams. The technology should back us there. And without that, then the whole, it might look good in the paper, but in the 1 year later, everything goes down. So we should not, we have learned some mistakes in the past as an industry. We are not intend to repeat that again. So technology-wise, and also infrastructure, lack of infrastructure, it's a completely urban to remote. There is a complete different scenario where the ranges are different and the payload capacity, let's say 2 kg is for blood sample, or 5 to 10 kg is for organ delivery transfer in intra-city transportations. So all this requires a different kind of drones completely. Some require a range of 2 to 5 kilometers. Some requires a range of 50 to 100 kilometers. So the investment that is required to build the whole hub and spoke model per se, or it's not simple. And if you can observe the market, it's completely dominated by startups as of now. The leading players haven't invested a lot. Like let's say some big hospital healthcare chain hasn't invested a lot, which requires the support. It's not about just the government. It's about the private industry also should come in a big way and take this technology and induct into their corporate and take it big. So that's where there is a lack of startups and the industry cooperation. It has started in a couple of examples, like Zomato has done some and Swiggy has done some, but it should be bigger than that. It's not sufficient enough to drive that growth in India. So I think I will put that as a lacking, not the government. Government is ready to support if the technology and everything is up to the mark.
Right, very interesting perspective. It all boils down to the private players down in India. But interesting, while we're reaching there, I understand that we're reaching there. That's what we are talking also. There's no denying that. So one side, we are maturing in terms of technology, capability, component-wise, and what we can deliver. And the second aspect is a user. User is also maturing. Perhaps they also need more confidence in terms of regulatory practices and all that. With these two, if we combine, can Prem Kumar answer? We can reach faster, or we are getting slow in terms of reaching some big numbers in drone in India. And say we want to be the pioneers. Say we want to be one of the biggest drone market in India. But if we take these two complexities together, then what is the prediction of yours?
Majorly we are betting a lot on the agri space, Manish, is because even the Prime Minister spoke about training 15,000 women and providing these drones, 15,000 women having these drones in the next 1 year. So this means like more drones which you're gonna see more often gonna be there. And their projection is this in agri space itself, the drop parallel to a number of sales happens tractors. Around 15 lakh tractors sale happen per annum now. It took 15 years or 20 years to bring that demand in the country, but the same what the demand you see in that in the next like 10 years or 5 years, we will reach to that just in one application like in agri itself. But it's going to be there in agri also. It's vertically there are 7 to 8 different applications the drone going to solve, from a transplantation, spraying, from a pollination, or crop disease monitoring, or a yield estimation. A lot of such applications going to come in this space. And we see definitely the domestic, the indigenization is a very key element, because still more than 40% is dependent on the Taiwan and China for all the basic motor to a sensor, or at present. So like how in automobile industry, you have a component level kind of indigenization players are there and you source locally. Similarly, in drone space, it will take at least 5 years to be in that space of what you see in automobile space or what you see today. Definitely, many companies similar to small companies like us have started working on indigenization. Like today, Government of India is pushing with the PLI for the drone manufacturers. Similarly, there's a greater request on the PLI for design, PLI for indigenization, and a lot of such requests as industry were given to the Government of India and to the concerned departments. But what we see is this space where, because of COVID and because of the incident what has happened for locust in the Rajasthan and more of a few places there, this has been cut short and opened up fastly. And today the certification also is happening. So today people are able to sell. Like it's like automobile, how you drive with a driving license, and having a automobile vehicle number, and having an insurance, comprehensive insurance. Similar is termed as for the drone, with a unique number to a drone, and a person who is flying has an insurance, and a drone has a third party comprehensive insurance, and even the crop insurance, everything has been given. So it's like automobile, people are able to use it. And there is a lot to happen, but this is a very great step where otherwise it would have taken more than 5 years to us to get what we are today.
I agree with you, balanced perspective. But this is now, I think, for me, is a fundamentally very important. Straight away to Dr. Sarita. What we talk about drones, of course, is about technology. India is an emerging country. We really want something which is being developed here. We're talking about AI, we're talking about machine learning, we're talking about data, and we think all the big guys, all the brightest guys, including you guys, from best of the institution, IIT and tradition, and also the few other engineering colleges. Let me not only push IIT to the fore, but of course there are talents everywhere. The technology is one part, but second part, what it provides, what drones can do to economy, to people, to service. Company like you, when they come in, you could have been in any part of the world earning $1 million jobs there. You are the brightest of the engineers there. World need you. You are welcome, and Silicon Valley is still there. But you come here, you settle down your company, you want to contribute to the economy, but also more than that, I think somewhere down the line, you want to bring solutions to this emerging economy. Somewhere you have, like agriculture, when you see, can you make a difference to the farmers if we can have a better spraying mechanism for 1/3 of the cost? Or can we take medicine? What is your motivation story, Dr. Sarita? Give us some inspiration, for others to leave, the green pasture of Harvard and come down here and start like you. Tell us one inspirational story and what Boat Lab does fundamentally.
So Manish, I'm going to disappoint you a little bit. So when we talk about hardware, and I think other panelists can also maybe sympathize a little bit. Hardware is actually very hard. In spite of what we all say, building things in India has been challenging and is still challenging because of the ecosystem that we have. And even I just wanted to add to our previous speakers, they just talked about. So I agree that the market is growing a little bit for defense and for the agri drone, but it's actually not at the pace that it could grow. We have been come to this much in the drone industry is because last year in February, government banned the import of foreign drones, and we always have to remember that the world drone industry is actually reached at a very mature level. So when you look at the drones from China and Europe and US, and then even like Turkey, Bakhtiar drone, if you look at them, they have far more superior and lot more evolved than us. And we always have to remember that they have reached to this level because they have spent significant amount of time, energy, and money, resources into R&D. And I would say that a lot of startups with little bit money that they make, they are putting aside money for R&D. And I think lot more resources are needed to continue R&D in a big way if we are actually thinking of becoming a player in the international market. So the Indian drone industry is exciting, promising, but to make a presence on the international market, we still need to come up in terms of our technology, and we have to come up to be a lot more mature in the systems that we are making. And I'm coming back to
just if I could interrupt you, I agree with you what you're saying. What I'm trying to ask you is, say, as a company, Boat Lab, I want you to inspire us, say, through some example, how you make a difference to the life.
Yes, and I'm actually coming to that. So I rather, whenever I give talk and all, I rather say that, we should be more realistic than, being just like, we have to be realistic about what the potential of the industry is, what are the challenges is. So we started Boat Lab in 2016 from IIT Delhi. And at that time, I had just come back from US, And Tanmay and Anuj are the two other co-founders in BART Lab. They were fresh graduates out of IIT Delhi in engineering physics. And we three came together for one reason, is that we were sharing a pain point. When I was doing PhD, every research grade instrument that I touched and worked upon was designed, made outside of the world, and still it is made outside. And when Tanmay was very fascinated by the defense technology, and if you look at defense equipment, 90% we are still importing, and we're dependent on the. So when we came together, we wanted to do something in this domain, build something quickly, that we are at least contribute a little bit and reduce that pain point in some ways. And that's why we came together. And the inspiring story is actually in 6-7 years, we have come to a point that we are building a complete system indigenously. So if you look at our drones, they're small. Every single component that goes on a drone, whether we are talking about flight controller, motor controller, GPS, RF component, they're all built by us, or rather designed by us, and we are getting them manufactured locally. So, and I think I find it very, personally very rewarding that in this a short journey of short time span, we are able to actually build. So our current fleet size is more than 6,000 drones. So, and we are able to make them in India. I would not have been able to imagine that being possible just pre-COVID time. I don't think the ecosystem was there. And so I think that's why I find the times are exciting. That ecosystem is quickly growing, potential is large, but we still need to put a lot in terms of R&D to come to a level where we start making a difference on international stage. We are so far protected by this regulation of no foreign drones from outside. And I think very quickly we need to catch up and come to a level that we can compete internationally also.
No, Dr. Sarita, you're trying to be humble. You're inspiring a lot through your 6,000 drone production. And of course, you've done a good job, and setting up from scratch and designing all that. Ramakrishna, I know your story a bit, but for the larger public, you need to tell us, you need to inspire us again. It's so important, as a defense analyst, I really understand the problems Army is facing. Their terrains are so difficult. This mountain, and India is geographically how difficult. There's one side you have high mountain pass, other side in Rajasthan, you have the 50-degree temperature flat desert, and then some marshland across India, and we have enemies all across. There is no question about that. There's no mincing our word. They keep hitting us there, and the most what we need in today in warfare is drone. Asymmetrical warfare. Know what your enemy is doing without going there. How you do that, and what motivates you to do that? Please tell us.
Thank you, Anish. Thank you for your kind words. But I'll take this opportunity to share a small story in my past. It happened in 2021. Although the company was started in 2019, right after I graduated from IIT Kanpur with bachelor's and master's, the easiest option for me would be go to US to do my PhD, and there is most of my batchmates. There's a lot of my friends are in US. But at that point, we decided, our co-founding team, to bring the technology that is in IIT Kanpur. Because we are sitting on a lot of IP actually, and we want to take it to the end user. With that as the initial thought, and with a very less clarity on business and growing company, we just started out. And for 2 years, I have been running around. But in the 2021, that is the moment it hit me hard. If you remember, there was a cloudburst incident happened in Chamoli, Joshi Math. In 2021, there was a dam was broken and everything was flooded. And people were actually stuck inside the tunnel, and the whole the mud was blocked them actually from coming out. So I was in Bangalore. Aero India is happening. We got a call from PSA office, Scientific Advisory Office, ki you guys have to bring your drones and you have to fly there. And within a matter of 24 hours, we were airlifted, and I reached me and my team of 4 members, we reached the Chamoli, that whole area. I could see 4 forces actually: SDRF, NDRF, ITBP, Indian Army. Everyone is trying to do a lot of things, but none of them has brought drones there, and no one has drones in their infrastructure. So they are trying to do. They're sending their cranes in, which actually goes in. They are not getting any visibility the way they want. And me, who has a bit of experience in the drones, I could see how the drone can change the scenario if they have if they include the drones as part of their SOPs or their architecture. Because I am just being as a consultant or external person. Obviously, I have been associated officially, so it's hard for me to impose my thoughts or my way of doing things. How you can use the drone to get the search, to make your search and rescue operations beyond the cliff easier, or to transport the water bottles packages across the river because the dam bridges were broken, and they are making these rope bridges. It took 2 days in front of me. I could see the progress there. It took 2 days for them to make a rope bridge to send the water bottles to the other village. The village was completely cut off from the mainland. So after that incident, I wrote a report, what are my observations or my learnings. That is for official purpose to the PSA office. But for me, it was the moment where I realized drones are required in forces. That is period, no doubt in that. And there is a huge difference. There are things available, but that is not being inducted into forces, which they should have been done 5 years back. So that is the moment it inspired us, the whole founding team, to go aggressively it assured us we are on the right track. We are solving a problem. They were, like Prem said, it's impact driven. So we could see that impact. I could be there. I was there for 7 days, whole operation. I could see it end to end. And my nano drones, like we have used our nano drones to do inside the dam inspection. We could to find where the bodies are stuck or the things, and we could use our long range surveillance drones to do the recce along the river, because a lot of debris was just floated or just went with the flow of the flood. So we have to do that. It has cut down the operational time a lot. Otherwise, they could have done it all manual, because it's a very tedious process, the conventional processes they used to do. Now they are adapting, and there is a requirement of that thing. So that's where we feel drone companies or Endure, we are solving a problem that our forces, MHA or MOD forces are looking for. So that inspires us on a daily basis to keep the energy moving. We are solving some real problem in the world.
No, that's a truly inspiring, and I know whether you tell us or not. Did your drone find out some terrorists going under the bushes? And that's your contribution in saving nations. Ramakrishna. Yeah. But apart from that, Prem has the most important thing to talk about. Believe me, whether we go to moon or we create a $1 million fighter jet. Every part of India I go to part of Bihar, I go to down south. The plight of farmers are at stake. Their income is shrinking. You have to feel about this. Basically, they are the one who feed us. I'm talking about the loss they have, the cost of input, while they don't have labor much to do that in rural part of, and that cost is very high. That leaves them poorer, basically. How do you make difference through your technology in especially agriculture? Believe me, we are still a large agriculture economy. We need to think about the farmer. Give us one example, Prem, how you make a difference. And that's a real difference I am talking about for those who have none.
So, Manish, every time you have been listening, double the income of a farmer has been every time we've been listening it, right, from last few years. You can't double the income of a farmer without reduction of his input cost or timely assistance to it. Today, what is happening is, if you take a crop like a chili, in 120 days, they spray more than 20 times. So you need 4 to 5 people for 1 acre to spray, where 90% goes in air. So traditionally, from 100 liters per acre to a drone has brought 10 liters per acre. So drastical reduction of water has come into it. And within less than 10 minutes, you're able to cover that 1 acre. So you're addressing the pest or disease in the shortest time. Now, the problem, what is happening is, like, an individual farmer has to work for his own crop, that 1 acre, 2 acre, and he has to go to the work for someone who has more than 20 acres, more than 10 acres and everything. Now, what is happening is, now because of the time is less than 10 minutes and 15 minutes, he can do it. He is availing as a service and he's going for the work. And what we could saw the difference is, like, take like a paddy kind of a crop. None of the machinery can go and do the activity like a spray. And a person, if he goes inside, there's a lot of snake bites, and it's not that easy. You get into the like paddy fields and do a spraying kind of activity. Now think of crop like a sugar cane. There is 6 to 7 feet height. Even tractor doesn't go inside. So it is not visible for them to do it. So eventually what is happening is the diagnosis element is coming to picture. How we do for a human body when you have fever or any of the health issues, first they use a basic scanning, you don't understand, then you go for CT scan, MRI scan. Similar kind of a sensors have been mounted to these drones. So eventually what is happening is in your 10 acres or 20 acres, where exactly the pest, where exactly your disease occurrence, you're going to address and do the localized kind of intervention. With that, what's going to happen is the input cost drastically comes down, and yield which is getting is lesser pesticide, automatically you'll have a better profit and better price to it. So eventually the application needs a more of very localized kind of intervention with these drones. Today, if you want to bring younger generation like 30 to 40 or 40 to 50 years old into agriculture, unless there is no little technological element, because it is not, they won't come to this agriculture. Even if you see today, India has banned sending rice to outside India because we are not able to meet the production of the rice in the country. So they have stopped it. They're not doing it. So eventually now going forward, the same traditional practices, if you follow, there is a huge challenge of a water scarcity. There's a huge challenge. The intake of pesticides is more and everything. By virtue, this technology becomes a mandatory. Only once the farmer sees in that 1 acre how the drone is working, then entire village comes forward that I want to get avail your service. I want to get avail your service. That's the difference. This is a technology where farmer needs it. It's not we are pushing it. It's a farmer who is looking forward for this technology.
Right. So how did you manage to convince your farmer, the area you're working? Can you talk about a bit? I mean, once you went initially, was it a government initiative, the local administrative push? How did it happen when you started going? Because there's apprehension, and they will say, "I don't want to use this technology. It's something new." And what benefit you will bring, I don't know at the moment, basically.
So Manish, this technology needed a lot of scientific validation and trials. 2018 to 2020, we worked with few of the agriculture university, and we did. If something you're spraying in an area, whether it's falling in my crop or neighbor's crop, or in 120 days or 90 days of crop cycle, when to spray, what nozzle to use, entire scientific SOPs has been created with the help of scientists, agronomists, entomologists, and Government of India has published this crop-centric SOPs. So what we saw, the difference is, where earlier people take one of the place called Tandur, which is you don't have groundwater. People used to bring the tankers. Now they are bringing bubbles, 20 liters, 10 liters bubble, and doing the cultivation. So where people have moved from this, migrated from this agriculture, are coming back to this agriculture because the water usage is very less, and within less time you could able to address this pest and disease, and they could safeguard this yield and the harvest. They could do better.
Great example. I hope some of the policymakers sitting in South Black must be listening to your example and make a difference, push it, incentivize it. Perhaps we must say that. But back to Dr. Sarita.
Manish, you can take the example of tea. The terrain is so tough. You can't carry a 20 kgs, 30 kgs and go in the terrain and spray in the tea farms. It is very tough. So eventually, like how tractors have come, and now you don't see people use bullock carts and do the spraying, right? Tractor spraying is come. So it's a evolution. What you see is the technology evolution going to be there, and we definitely see drones will be in for every household, like how you have tractor in every household today in villages.
Actually, you're right. I have seen myself one of the examples in down in Uttar Pradesh when they used on the pilot basis. It was basically mesmerizing because the lack of water, and right away they were very excited about just spraying it and feel far more efficient and effective level basically. But back, thanks for the example. I think agriculture touches my heart, and technology like drones would make a difference. And young mind like you, which you guys have putting your brain into technology, when bring solution to the people's life, that matters basically. Those guys who commit suicide, which read newspaper, believe me, that's a big story from my side.
Manish,
But back to Sarita, back
the
to
audience.
Sorry.
Could we take a few questions from the audience? They have been writing to us for the last 1 hour with the amazing discussion. It's in the Q&A tab. So could we pick up a few of those?
We can, but before we start, I think we are missing the one fundamental link, which we will still talk about, the military aspect of drone and bit of technology. Sure. Can we do it? Because a lot of things we talk about is a lack of technology. We have government talks about, and when companies like to talk about, okay, we do this, we have our own design systems and all, but how much of the component, how much of the R&D ecosystem that really works in the drone is very important to understand from at least the panelists sitting here. If I start with Dr. Sarita, say we talk about system like LIDARs, we talk about sensors, where we are, give us a quick example and how we are approaching in terms of those critical components of, say, you talked about the motor, you talked about the batteries, which make the drone, and their technology play a crucial part. While we lacked, we also fell a little behind in terms of Western partners, and import is banned. So this also gives opportunity. But when we say about we are importing the parts wise, how are we reaching, Dr. Sarita, in terms of developing this right here?
So I think when you talk about drone, now the major components are already designed and built in-house by most of the startups. If you look at IdeaForge, BotLab, or I'm pretty sure Rama has his own flight controller. So let me break it down for you. So when you talk about drone, there are three major parts. So you need a flight controller, which is the brain of the drone. You need a motor controller, and then you need GPS for orientation of the drone. And so a lot of companies are able to make their own customized solutions for the drones. But when you talk about LiDAR and talk about custom sensors in terms of cameras, so we do not have that kind of systems made in India. A lot of time we are assembling. Tonbo is taking the camera from outside and putting the whole setup, assembling the setup here. So for that, we are, as I said, we are at level 2, where we are designing and getting the components. But when it comes to camera or other sensors, LiDAR, we have to import. We are still importing. There are some startups that I know out of IIT Delhi, which are designing their own camera sensors. And that designing part has, of course, has started in India, but we are still, I think it's going to be few years before we get to make our own sensors. And for that, a large amount of R&D is needed. And I think when that happens, that true gap will be filled. So then you will be able to make truly competent systems customized in India. For now, we are using sensors pretty much imported from outside, and we are putting them on the systems.
But thanks, Ramakrishna. Quickly, you make it right here, and for the military, which requires a really robust technology, no doubt about this. Give us a clarity on this. When we talk about these 5 components, we talk about the motor, we talk about the batteries, we also talk about the radar system, and if also say the body part itself, the material parts. Give us a quick view of how capable we are at the moment and where we are down the line.
Actually, Dr. Sarita has summarized what's industry is standing as of now. And when it comes to military also, that's where the things get slightly complicated, because the more robust and more mill-grade components are required. And industry is actually, Indian industry, it requires some more time, some more maturity to support autopilot that is mill-grade and the GPS that has redundant features. So I have to say we are dependent upon the imported components, especially when it comes to avionics. But there are a lot of Indian players who are adding value, let's say in the battery case. So the lithium-ion cells are getting from outside, but the packaging and also BS certification that is getting done here. So that's 25 to 30% of value addition. And also when it comes to cameras, there are players in India who are doing a very good business, modules are coming from outside, but the packaging, the customization of the software and the hardware. So they're offering these things, and same goes for the communication modules also. the internal chipset is coming from is getting imported, but some tweaking, some validation is getting done. So that transition will take time, and with more capital, access to capital is offered to these companies, they might go to completely indigenous also once, but that requires a complete ecosystem from the chip manufacturers and also to a lot of other component design manufacturers, which are not specific to drone industry, but actually is the electronic industry itself. So 90% of the components, electronic components that goes into drones are common to other industries also. So when these big industries come into India, like Foxconn is coming there, so some other place also has to come and establish the whole ecosystem, which contributes to a lot of electronic manufacturing in India. So that will see this transition, but it will take time. I will not say less than 3 years also, but yeah, it's going to take time for us.
I want to comment, Prem, on this, and especially one aspect which was missed out is the body part, the structural part itself, apart from the electronic parts. Are we making it, say, the materials we have, we do it fully here, say, in terms of fixed wing and those rotors?
So I just wanted to say the reality is still the carbon fiber which you make, the raw material is brought from Taiwan, and the magnets which they make for motors that still depend on. Still in India, this ecosystem is very, very nascent stage, where companies, startups have started creating the applications, but indigenized components or are not still well tested and have been used by the manufacturers yet. So still, if you see a lot of reports of FICCI or all these reports which are published also shows the China, Taiwan, and different countries' dependencies, where the structure, outer structure, yes, 100% can be done in India itself, like frames, but the electronic components, batteries, motors are still, like example, I take agriculture people across 100% they use motors which are not from India. Still people are making in India motors, but still people have yet to test and show the reliabilities and everything. So that, because when we are giving to a farmer or to the entrepreneur, we have to be double sure it is useful for him at least 3 years or certain time period, whatever we say. So that's the reason the motors, batteries, or electronics have been not used, still indigenized and everything. They have been sourced and they have been assembled in India at present. But frame and certain components have been done here locally, what I see. But still, that brings a lot of, like each component itself can become a startup in India, and it itself a big space, what I could see going forward, where if I consume some 5,000 drones in next 1 year, I can tell a battery company, produce me something more than some 10,000 batteries provide to me. I can say some motor company provide me some like more than 20,000 motors to me. So eventually the demand is coming now. So that's it. Automatically the component industry will start emerging from India, and that's where we could see. That's why there is a supply chain still. There is a dependency on China, Taiwan, and other countries still in for the whatever the components we are sourcing.
Right. I give it to the Saurabh, but I tell you the way you put it, each component could be its own startup and create $1 million market here. That's so true. I mean, Saurabh, we have time. We can take a few questions from audience. Please go ahead and if you have chosen some of the questions.
Right, and an amazing panel discussion. It almost seems, unfortunate to kind of draw it to this, but all good things come to an end. So we'll take a few questions, and this goes out to the panelists and to you, Mr. Manish, as well. You are definitely a subject matter expert yourself in this area. So please take it up. So we'll start with this question from Dr. Srinivas. He says, what is the level of AI requirements in the drone vision analysis? Given AI being computationally heavy, how do we manage it?
Can I take the question?
Sure, go ahead, please.
Yeah, the level of AI requirements in drone is coming a lot, especially in the enterprise market. When it comes to linear asset monitoring, linear asset inspections, or your pipeline inspections that covers the pipelines, railways, oil and gas things. So the customer lately is not just asking for raw data. So he has stopped asking, I don't want data. You give me a report of where my soil erosion happened, where my new trees have grown. So he is asking a comparison between how it was 3 months back and how it is now. So he's just asking like the final PDF of the comparisons, and he wants it in a matter of like 2 weeks from the collection of raw data. So within 2 weeks, I have to generate this comparison of 3 months prior and now. So that requires my AI model to be like my visual analytics models to be much more stronger. So lately, all of our enterprise discussions are going towards a visual analytics more, because drone, they feel it's already matured. So they're not talking about drones, but they're talking more of a visual analytics. How we are going to give us the data, that is the crucial part for them. So obviously, customer cares about what he's getting. He doesn't care about the drone, how is it flying. That's our job to do. So yeah, it's playing a very key role going forward, especially in the enterprise market.
Saurav, just wanted to add few more. There's a digital twin, you might be knowing, right? This digital twin, everything in terms of example, construction, like a progress of a construction progress for entire has been used by the AI models now, where visual data is coming with a drone scanning of entire building and trying to compare with the Primavera software of the 3D map, what they're able to see week on week. They're trying to tell visually how much it has been delayed, how many days it's going to take. So those digital twin in dams, construction, the entire infrastructure industry is getting disrupted basically with the AI element and having the visual feed with the drone and the existing technology. Second is in agriculture. Today, what is happening is for the human eye, it is not visible. So when we're keeping certain sensors today, what is happening is you're capturing the data, coming back to the offices, processing it, and going back and telling to them. Eventually, we see this the 5G and edge computing comes, and those all the AI algorithms gonna instantly tell where exactly the pest, how much area is that affected, and they could only address that. That's gonna be the next going forward. What we see as the huge difference. So in every sector of what is there. After it's the more of a next after the drone, it's AI, which is definitely needs to be there, and it is in every like inspection, surveillance. In surveillance, example, law enforcement, when we worked with the for crowd estimation. Basically, when passive events are happening, that only your 10,000 people and your policemen only some 1,000 or 500, you can't expect you can control it. So the crowd estimation, crowd density, and a lot of they're trying to use this with the technologies. Even we've seen the image recognition technology has been applied with the theft and more of offenders who have been applied real-time data, and they could identify the guy who is in the crowd and they just catch him immediately. There's a lot of such examples. I'm saying like these are few, but the many more where we don't know, and we're going to explore in coming days.
Right, some amazing applications. Could I pull Dr. Sarita in for a quick word?
So Saurabh, we work on drone swarming, and in that you are coordinating with several drones at a time, and we have developed an application for defense. So where, I mean, now the data is coming from several drones at once. So human error can occur if you have a intervention from humans. So actually AI certainly is going to play, and already we are thinking about utilizing it. So for target recognition and then taking some actions. So what what Prem already said, and Ram Krishna also talked about, so that a lot of time people assume that drone is made already, and now the intelligence has to be built on board. And so that's what is kind of extra feature that a lot of drone companies are now putting. They're putting extra hardware, and especially in computer vision is becoming a lot more important, where you have obstacle avoidance, target recognition, and then taking certain actions. And in our case, the AI becomes a lot more important because the data is coming simultaneously, and for one person to take a decision and taking data from 8 different drones becomes almost impossible. So some autonomy in that way will be brought upon by AI, and we are really looking forward to these solutions coming, becoming a reality very soon.
Right. Thank you so much, and wonderful comments from the entire panel. I'll take on the next question. This comes from Mr. T.A. Balasubramaniam, and the question goes like this: commercial use of drones are increasingly interacting with the space of humans, especially in populated areas. You can see the question online as well. And he says that this is raising issues of privacy and security. Are there any legal, or is there any legal protection available for citizens against drone intrusion? Mr. Munish, could I have you come in and speak on this first, and then we'll go to the panelists?
Yes, government. This question is universal. Basically, even the advanced countries in European, they are facing the similar problem, because it's an evolving scenario. It's a catch-22 scenario. Basically, while you have the captive market, and you also have to fulfill services, and eventually it has to be in the population, basically. And so how you evade? So a drone, for example, is going to deliver or may capture a certain area for certain mapping or surveillance. It can, of course, capture individual activity in house, and that's a concern. So far, I don't think government has allowed this free hand. It has to be regulated, and it's I think for me it's still under the debate that how this privacy issue can be. It is same as we're talking about the data privacy issues, which now government is talking about. Can we have the server in our own country while we have the worldwide net? And it's a similar situation we are facing now. So far, there is no concrete answer to this, as far as I know. Rest panelists can throw on this.
Rama,
Yeah, I agree with what Manish has added. So yeah, I don't think I have much to add. I think Dr. Sarita has something to add.
But I think, and I think even in spite of, because I remember Starbucks was delivering coffee in Australia, and there are examples of Amazon delivering packages, and I think they keep running into this hurdle of privacy and intruding. And not just that, people are also objecting to the noise from the, the propellers. So that, and that's why you're seeing that lot less applications in commercial domain. And as Ramakrishnan and Prem talked about, B2B, B2G are kind of flourishing a lot more and faster than these applications. And I think reason being security, safety, and privacy, all these are on top priority of people. And I think it'll take a while till we figure these out and for it to become day-to-day use thing.
Right. From urban, can we shift to the other side? And Prem, can I get you in to say, how does it impact when you're talking to all the farmers and everyone? Is it a big concern for them?
Yeah. So basically, Government of India has this certification process which is done for the manufacturers. So majorly, they have this concern has been also taken care, where the software and hardware, everything has to be logged and has to be taken care. So majorly, when we did one of the medical delivery trials also, where Rama can add it, they have made sure derouted from any of the residential areas and everything, where if it can take a little longer path also. We have taken to the more of a non-residential paths, and we did the flying for a medical delivery for 40 kilometers, what we did earlier. So today, what the Government of India is also saying is, this manufacturer, there's a software and hardware element, both has been provided by the manufacturers, right? So DGCA mandates manufacturers to have the records of every drone which has been sent, and every drone which has been sold also has a record called Digital Sky as a portal. You can go and check whether this drone is legally used or legal brought from the manufacturers and everything. And if any police guys tomorrow finds any of the issue, they can seek that specific drone, and once they complain, manufacturer is bound to provide those data to him, is what has been mandated. So there is certain compliance, but eventually it's going to be more. But today there is certain kind of a process where if something goes wrong, the police can catch hold that pilot and catch hold reach out to the manufacturers, get the more data, understand more, and they could be able to find.
Right, good thoughts. Can I just pop in a question to everyone? Can a drone go rogue? Is it possible?
All the time is answer. So yes, the answer to that is yes. And actually, I just wanted to address a funny instance that we talked about. So we were one time flying, testing drones in Bombay, and now people are also become very aware. So the neighborhood, the people in neighborhood called police, and they said, there are a bunch of young people and trying some hundreds of drones, and we don't feel safe. And so wherever, so typically, as Prem also said, wherever you take your drones, you have to take permissions from MOCA, MHA, and also from local police. And these are already in place, so that to ensure if anything goes wrong, who to be be held responsible, and if and then people can report and check with them that who is actually flying drone in that neighborhood. And I think it's a good thing, because unfortunately with data we have been not so careful, and a lot of our data has gone to a lot of places. But it's good that in this government is taking precautions and kind of moving slowly. Now coming back to drones going rogue, I would say we are into small drones. They're very small and they go rogue all the time. So what drone manufacturer, what do? Is they build safety features. So what if the drone goes rogue? What can you do? So in our case, we create a geofence, a designated area or a volume where the drone is only allowed to fly. And if it goes wrong, if something, some sensor fails or some mechanical error happens, or sometimes you forget to put charge battery, that also happens. So what happens in those cases is it breaches the geofence and the drone will crash back in that area. And a lot of drones these days have returned to home. And in our case, we actually make the drone commit suicide. So whenever, because we are always near our audience, we never want a drone to hit anyone or any building. So if it crosses the barrier, it will be, the motors will turn off and the drone will fall.
Right. I hope that's a graceful suicide, as you mentioned. Now, like you just mentioned, there's a lot to learn. I mean, in this particular scenario where residents complain, we have a question here from Bimlesh Kumar, who's a student. I'll just put the question on the stage. He says, as a student, where can I start, or which is the best place to learn more about drone technology?
I can take up this question is because now in India there are 70 odd academies at present. The easiest way is to it's a 5 days, 6 days course to start with, where you can join and you can get a glance of it. It doesn't give you 100%, but it gives you a glance on rules and regulation, use cases, and how to fly. And you get a glance of up to 3 to 4 hours of experience of flying. After that, it is individual where he's going to choose whether he's going to be a pilot, he's going to be an engineer, or he's going to take certain application forward and everything. Then he can work with the companies, startup companies, like which are in different sectors they're working on. And that's where they can do it, because today this industry is very new. So you don't have a drone engineer, drone pilot. All existing streams, mechanical, electrical, computer science, even physics, biotech, all the streams are allowed to come forward and explore, because I have not become the main pilot. At least I can become a drone pilot is what everybody's intention.
But I would say
Also,
what
yeah.
Prem absolutely said. I think the best way to learn is just jump into the waters. You can join any of these startups. Startups would be more than happy to take you as interns. So we get a lot of times students especially in summer as interns. And as Prem said, the background can be anything: electrical, computer science, mechanical, civil, and based on their interest, they can pick up some part of the expertise. And something like learning to fly, the first step to building a drone within 3 months is all possible.
And also, IIT Kanpur has started a master's program for drones actually now. So that is a good place to start also, just to have a career there.
Amazing. Good stuff. Good. So we're having a quick few questions on several of the applications. Someone is asking current potential of drones in the toy industry, and I'll just go one by one, and if I could have opinion from all of you in that. So toy industry, event and photography for weddings, medicine delivery in the Northeast. What else do we have? Increasing the per acre productivity by precision farming, and then we have something which says again military application. That is something we have. So we are having events. We are having medicine delivery, toy industry. Any thoughts on those?
So most often everybody might have known drone because of the wedding. People have seen the drone, something has flown in a wedding. That's where people have seen, because people have not seen what drones have been used in defense. People have seen because of Ukraine, because of the Israel and all that. But 99.9% people remember drone because अरे शादी में देखा है. So, but still, this entire space, the volume intake is more, definitely. The whole event industry uses these drones, and still in India, we don't have an Indian product for this kind of a sector because the DJI, which is globally, nobody is able to meet the price and the features and the experience what they're able to do it. Still, it could not take little more time for Indian manufacturers to bring a competent product similar to a DJI or Skydio in that space. Medical device purely because of regulatory challenges is because it comes under BVLOS, beyond visual line of sight. In India, all the certification, all the use cases presently are visual line of sight. Any BVLOS needs a conditional exemptions from Ministry of Civil Aviation. Unless it is not healthcare, they're not ready to give this BVLOS exemptions. And healthcare also, you see ICMR is doing in different states trials now. So the BVLOS to become everyday norm, like everyday we use a drone, the government of India, DGCA is coming up BVLOS certification, and BVLOS courses has to be taught by all these academies, so that safety norms, so that what happens on BVLOS and everything has to be learned. So this too has a still yet to come industry in India where it becomes a everyday usage.
Right. Dr. Sarita, wanted to add something?
Yes, so I think we are known because of the events, and fortunately because of the events we've gotten the break and we are able to do a lot of R&D. And so we even did not know ourselves, as Ramakrishna said, that in the beginning you start making drone and you don't know what to do with it. I mean, the business side you actually figure out much later, because you're so excited to be building things. And so when we were building Swarm, and in 2019 we had a lot of experience with drone Swarm, and then we kind of miniaturized them, put a LED light on it, and then we realized that event industry can be a very good market to launch these. And so we are kind of able to survive because of this event industry. And in that you have corporates, government bodies, a lot of bodies across India using so what in event it means is there's something you're celebrating national games, or some product launch, and in that fireworks and drone shows are becoming very norms these days. And so of course the drones are now and as I said in the beginning, because each drone startup has found their niche. And so for example, we are addressing the event industry, Prem is addressing the agriculture industry, Ramakrishna is addressing the defense industry, and even within that there are many breakups where you can address different markets for that. And I think as Prem rightly said, that the drones are famous not because of what everyone else has done, is because what these wedding operators have done during the catching, and then they actually made drones cool, and slowly it caught up people's imagination that drones can do more than just take a video from a wedding.
I can I add to what Dr. Sarita has pointed out. One remarkable, of course, all the applications are most welcome, but why defense is so important? Though we late starter in India, military took out of way and has become a more progressive user and buyer of drones in India, and they're looking drones layers, basically starting from the nano drones, which you need maybe in thousands. So can you imagine the multiple opportunity? And that's not confined to Indian Army per se, let me tell you. So confined to Indian Army, Indian Air Force, you have Indian Navy and Coast Guard in every part. Plus you have the
I think there is some network issue from Manish's side, I guess. So I would like to just add what he was just telling. Also, I saw a comment from a person here, like whether the drones can be used in the solar projects. Yes, the drones are being used in solar panel health monitoring applications also in a big way. A lot of companies are serving to that. So what the trend we are seeing is like there are a lot of niche applications that are being generated, developed on a daily basis actually. So what is happening or what's going to happen in a more clear manner is like startups are going to emerge or going to take on a niche applications and gain their expertise. And expertise doesn't lie in just in hardware. Like it can be on the software or the visual analytics part also. So I see some companies are developing their hardware to do this temperature controlled payload delivery, like medicines or blood samples. So they are building their hardware to that. And there are some companies who are building their visual analytics models for a linear asset inspection or this land surveying or mining applications. So all these specializations is going to come in next 1 or 2 years, and that's where the more applications will come on. That's some saturation will happen in this manner.
Right. Good. I might just lead on to that question and ask, and this is one of the questions again from a student here, and he's asking that let me show this on stage in the meantime. He says Dr. Sarita has rightly emphasized the importance of indigenous R&D and again make in India and sell it to the rest of the world. He says, my question is, what is the potential application of using indigenous drones for climate change? And climate and sustainability is a big topic around the world, and India as well. We have several commitments in that front. So starting with you, Rama, I would like to know, what can we do, towards climate change while we use drones as a technology?
So
I would like.
I just want to give you one case study there, Saurav, is because we work in the afforestation space with all the forestry departments, because we were the starting people from 2016 onwards. We're working. We're doing in some 7-8 states now. All the basic forest fire happens every year, as you know. Animals come out. People think they're coming out and they're gonna kill people and everything, and in return we kill the animals in the fear. And because of deforestation, because this forest fires and a lot of deforestation is happening, and you can't go and plant in the terrains in this, like example, the forestries and everything. So majorly we scout with this drone, and we take the help of self-help groups and NGOs to make the seed balls, and we use these drones to plant it. And with the satellite data, we tell them rain cover percentage and everything. So we have almost, we did last year a 1 crore plantation, and we're running a successful campaign like planting 1 billion trees by 2030. So in this, what has happened is we have seen a gradual increase of a green cover percentage is one. Eventually, a lot of people in outside India, they work on carbon credits, carbon sequencing, and a lot of other things. But we see the space which we have taken, we have very difficult with mainly to survive this use case with no government pays it, no companies pays it. But still, we see this brings a lot of the best use case in more of plantation, reforestation activities, which ultimately relates with the climate change, what we could see. And this is I wanted to put forward.
Yeah. And one more application I just want to add on this is like, you might have heard there is a project that is happening at IIT Kanpur where they are creating artificial clouds for the rain, right? So that currently that's happening through manned two-seater aircraft. But I don't see any reason, maybe once the whole process is matured, it can be made unmanned also. Unmanned vehicles, unmanned drones can do that. But that requires some higher payload capacity, but that's in the pipeline also. That's at R&D stage as of now.
And I'll just add another point is that because of our modern practices of agriculture, we are actually losing a lot of land, and that becomes inirrigable. You cannot use that land at all, and because pHs are changing. So what I think ISRO has come up with a project recently. What they want is that using multispectral camera, you can monitor the areas and see. Because that's actually a big loss, because once you lose the land, you cannot use it again. And I think if that constant monitoring happens, and this is a large project, that's something the government has to do, monitor the land quality pH and the salinity and all that. And for that, drones can actually play a big role. And climate change, unfortunately, is contributing significantly in losing very healthy part of the land. And I think that technology would definitely help in preserving, conserving, making people aware that agriculture is doing well, but at the same time, modern agriculture practices are also contributing to loss of land, permanent loss of land. And that's a very serious problem that can be taken up, and drones certainly can contribute to that.
Amazing.
See, one of the popular use case also is on water quality testing we are doing with the drones. Majorly because it's not that easy, where a lot of people health is linked with the water what we drink right every day. So majorly the water testing we did, and that this case study has been popularly promoted by Amitabh Bachchan in the KBC. But I say is that many more, like people say air pollution, people say predicting certain kind of the climatic changes. So many gonna come, but few are already started. The only thing is, if somebody wants to work in this, join those organizations which are already started, and because people like us need more hands who can come forward than doing the same thing, is what I see.
Amazing. And just to lead, I want to bring again Manish Kumar. Welcome back again. We've talked about all the applications and with the conflicts going around in the world. I wanted to bring you on and see your opinion. Can and how can drones be used in news coverage? I mean, some of these are very tough zones, very difficult areas. There are war zones, and people have been going there. Do you see an application where drones could be useful and even protect news anchors and give them some level of safety? What do you think?
Very interesting question. Of course, that's a new idea you have given to us, but will also take few jobs away. The aspect is here when we cover the conflict. It is through the human voice. We talk about the intensity of the conflict. If you say, for example, we sent a drone to cover the conflict of Israel and Palestine. Yes, it can show visuals, but it can't go a couple of places where human eyes can feel about. The technology still does not have the soul and compassion, to feel about that. So it is such area. Of course, we can capture few images. And images are there. What you see, most of the images on the Israel and Palestine conflict, and also Russia-Ukraine war, many are from the drone itself. In some of the drones, military drones, they have sent images which leaked out, by the way, from their war rooms. Which we see the conflict. It is not that many of the visuals, very disturbing visuals you watch, basically, it's actually a result of the drones which used in the conflict and images being leaked out. But yeah, the applications are wide there. Technology has no boundary. But I think when we talk about the conflict, we should have rather human voice, rather have drones for these areas which you can do in ICR, reconnaissance, surveillance, or may attack, basically, but not cover the conflict, in news per se. Human is important, to understand the plight of human. Drones will not feel that.
Right, amazing. I mean, from cameraman to cameraman driving drones. I mean, how cool would that be, right? We talk about upskilling, in different areas, but imagine a cool cameraman with a long lens now driving a drone, right? Good. I want to just take on the last question, and this is about security. We have one question from one of our students as well, and another one which is relevant. And we'll head to a close. We are already over the time, but the conversation has been so amazing. I'll just put this question on the stage here, which again, in simple sense, is we have drones coming to us. As we can send drones out, we can also get drones coming back to us. How do we handle security? Can we jam them? Or even, like I said, is there a way, how do we handle the cybersecurity of drones? I mean, can the drones be hacked, right? And with that question, I'll say it is the last question for this panel. Who would like to go first on that? Rama, can I invite you on that question first?
Yeah. So there are a lot of counter UAV, CUAS systems that are being installed in all the critical infrastructure across India. And a lot of counter UAV infrastructure is being installed in the border also. Because you might have been hearing there are a lot of rogue drones, or not rogue, the drones that are coming from the other side of the border, transporting like ammunitions or drugs, or a lot of, lately some people are also getting transported by the drones, if you are hearing the news actually. So all these things, like there are a lot of systems are already in place. There are private companies in India and DRDO labs who are working on these systems, and they are being tried. They are at least in the initial stages of induction, but maybe in a year or so they will be matured and they will make the borders or the critical infrastructure more secure, so that we don't face the same issues that Aramco has faced in Middle East. So yeah.
If I could add quickly to this, this is very interesting questions, and this is again evolving area, because a drone which is about, say, attack drone, a drone which going on a certain defined path, has a mechanism. If something happens, can come back. Will not be a rogue drone. Turn out to be itself is a a destructive drone, falls in own land basically. But a drone with a undefined path, I think so, which has more of a autonomous and AI-led inputs, and if it can be hacked, that is a serious question. If because that would be unable to come back to the the origin, and that's a technology progress which I think is under place around the world.
Any closing thoughts, Prem, Dr. Sarita?
So basically, in India, government of India realized this is the first thing to be done. That's why what they did is they've come up with managing the airspace. If you see, there's a portal called Digital Sky. You have a red, yellow, green kind of a zones and everything. And even then, in going forward, they will give a police people, if some chief minister is going in certain way, they can block that entire area into a red zone, so that no-fly zone can be created very dynamically. And even they have a radars which can stop in that particular zone, not to in 2.48 gigahertz to 5.8 gigahertz kind of the more of a thing. So majorly, they're definitely already the people are using it. All the defense and army is using it. Even airports have started using it. But even police people are also going to start using it, and they're going to manage the airspace dynamically because of the security concerns. When, if you see today, Prime Minister is coming to some place, will say no drone should be flight, because in going forward, you will be only dedicated corridors will be created, and you can manage that. Because the technology evolution is happening. So the counter system, how much more companies you see, there are more than 500 plus drone companies, but there are only like 10 counter drone companies which are doing anti-drone technologies, but they're very big companies. So because it needs a lot of big capital, and also today the procurement, the big procurements happen in the country by defense is also on the anti-drone than the drone technology.
Yeah, amazing. Dr. Sarita, last few closing words.
So I would say, this is an exciting area, and I think the very big example is which every drone company is inspired by is DJI story of the world. That company came out of China and captured 90% of the world market. We're not just talking Chinese market, and they did that not by just being cheaper. So they make the best possible system, and they have kind of captured the imagination of users in many ways, that you aspire to run a Mavic or a Mini Pro Mavic. So these systems are to inspiration to us, and going forward, and they also make larger systems too. Though they are known more for Mavic and Phantom, but they have other systems in cinematography and defense. And so I think in India, a lot of drone companies take inspiration from them. And I think moving forward, if we aspire to be as good or better than that, it will take time, R&D, resources, but it's quite possible if there's a protection from government, and also there is an opportunity to do R&D, and also there is a customer. And I think Manish asked at one point why defense. I think defense has done amazing work, that they put faith in startups. They gave them opportunity so that startups could give their technology, even though it's not the best of the best in the world, but it does in terms of functionality. Indian drones are working fine, and I think the next step would be to reach to international level. But again, it will require a lot of R&D from all the drone companies, and then we'll be able to bridge that gap that exists.
Right, amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. This was an amazing panel. We still have quite a few more of questions, but we've already overshot the time by about 30 minutes now. I've posted the LinkedIn event where you can contact the speakers as well, and you can ask more questions, and I'm pretty sure they'll be happy to engage with you. It's very good. For the last few minutes, I would like to invite our lead for the roadshows, Ms. Manjeet. Please come on stage and offer a vote of thanks.
Yeah, Saurabh, thank you. But I have one last question which I have seen in the audience. So it is like, why are they called drones? So I have seen the answer in LinkedIn page of Ramakrishna might be long back. So it would be good if three of you or Ramakrishna can volunteer to answer.
Sorry, I don't remember the answer in the question. Why are they called drones? Okay. I would encourage the other panelists to answer that. There is a different. Okay.
So mostly, if you ask all the drone startups, we don't, mostly it's UAV quadcopters. That's how we call them. Drone is a generic name that's been used in the literature, and it's been going on for some time.
Okay. We should go ahead with vote of thanks. So an event is incomplete without a vote of thanks. I am Manjeet, an alumnus of IIT Kanpur and lead roadshows PO 2023. On behalf of Pan IIT Alumni India, I would like to thank all the wonderful people associated with this highly successful event. I sincerely thank Mr. Debashish Bhattacharya, Chairman Pan IIT Alumni India, and Mr. Pradeep Bhargava, General Secretary Pan IIT Alumni India, and Conference Chair PO 2023 for their constant help and support to the team. Our heartfelt thanks to our esteemed speakers, Dr. Sharita, Bold Lab Dynamics, Ramakrishna, Endure Air, Prem Kumar, Marut Drones for taking out precious time from their schedule to share their learning and experiences with the audience. We thank our moderator, Mr. Manish Jha, the Deputy Editor at Financial Express, for doing a great job in keeping all our esteemed speakers and the audience engaged. Thanks to Shara for helping with critical backend support to manage the registration on Airmet Link to engage with the marketing team for creatives. I thank the program chairs, Mr. Shauravraj again, Dr. Smita and Dr. Shomnath for spreading the word in various alumni groups and networks. Thanks to Praveen Kumar, Marketing Head, and Kannan Iyer, Logistic Head for their support. Thanks to our Pan IIT Secretariat, Melissa and Padmini for their constant support. Thanks to Thomas and Rajiv in the cyber media team for providing marketing support. Thanks to Airmeet team for hosting the event on their platform. Thanks to each and everyone for the help. Last but not the least, we would like to thank all our registered participants and our amazing audience who joined us to make the event a successful one. We invite you for our upcoming roadshows with an enthralling list of topics, and the next one being mental health. And we hope to see you in person at PO 2023 on 8th and 9th December in Bengaluru. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Pleasure
Thank
to
you,
have you.
Thank
everyone.
you. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Pan IT team.
Yeah.
And thank you, all the speakers and Manish ji and Saurav, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Have a
Pan IIT. I
nice
was actually
weekend
an alumni of IIT Startups Cohort 7, actually. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.